Welcome everybody to a new season of the X-Mage League. This is a matchup between last year's runner-up, Dylan Magika, and perennial First Division player Josh Grace. First up, I have to apologise for the audio quality. I'm actually overseas at the moment and using my laptop. I don't have any of my usual equipment, so I have to sort of make do with what I got. This was recorded by Dylan, so we're looking at Dylan's hand at the moment. It's going to be a Bant Nexus. This deck's kind of everywhere on uh, in the MTG, GPs and so on at the moment. So the idea is he's just going to keep fogging. You can see he's got the Hazer Pollen and the Root Snare in his hand. So every time there's an attack here, he'll cast a fog. And here comes the first one, so no damage done. And he just keeps doing this to buy himself time until he can cast Nexus of Fate and keep taking infinite turns. I don't think Josh's deck can really win this match. Before sideboards, he needs to bring in some extra cards. Something like Duress that can negate these effects. So Dylan here, you can see he's just aggressively looking for Haze of Pollen or another fog effect. So what he's going to do now, you can see Teferi untapped, so he's going to win with a Teferi ultimate. So he's down to 6 life. Josh there doesn't really make sense to attack Teferi because if he's got the fog, it's not going to do the damage anyway. If he doesn't have the fog, he could have just done the damage to the face and won the match. But you can see he's Josh with enough ammunition to win the game about 5 times over, but unfortunately he's not going to get that. This deck I think really pisses people off. Pisses me off. I don't like it. So now he plays Nexus of Fate into turn, so he's going to get another turn. It's just a matter of time now. How much does Josh want to go through this? So again, you can see he's got the one Haze of Pollen left. Again, I apologize for the audio in the background. This is probably going to be a feature of my recordings for the next couple of weeks. We do have other people that are going to be commentating as well, but at this stage they haven't done it yet. So I'm hoping they're going to come forward. You can see he just keeps drawing these. He's got 2 Hazer Pollens now, so he's going to get 2 more turns. He can comfortably run out the search for a Skanta. This Field of Ruin is just for deck thinning. The problem here is that the Nexus of Fate gets shuffled back into the deck. It doesn't go to the graveyard. So when he's got 4 of them, he's got Teferi ticking up. He can easily find them. He's got Search for Skanta that's going to flip. And this just happens again and again and again. There's a Nexus of Fate. One other option he has is that you can see Khan Sky and Aversa there. Can make an army of artifacts to do the damage as well. I'm honestly surprised Josh has gone on this long. 12 cards in the grave. I think Dylan's seen just about every one of his. This is going to get him an extra turn. Khan's Temporal Sundering. Yeah, and that was enough. Josh had seen it all, so we're going to go to game 2. Dylan's in with vengeance this year. He's the defending standard champion, so this is his bread and butter from last season. He's also the runner-up for Grand Champion. He's beaten by Julia Corbin in the final. Julia's not competing this year, so he's going to be the highest-ranked player. In chat, he's declared himself the defending champ, he is the highest-ranked player currently playing the game. I haven't kept up with all the intricacies of standards, so I'm not really sure what the point of morale in this deck is. You can see he's a bit awkward at the moment without. He's got the Teferi, but he doesn't have the Hazer Poland to go with it. But you can see on the other side, Josh doesn't have any pressure on the board to make that an issue at this stage. Yeah, and Josh has seen enough pretty early, so we're going to modern now, where it looks like Dylan is playing. I forget the name of this deck. It's like the Hardened Scales Affinity, something like that. Not sure what Josh is on here. Faithless Leading of Mana Crypt would probably suggest the HollowVine deck. Oh, okay, 2 Bridge from Below. So this can be negated quite easily by Dylan because he just has to put a creature from play into the grave. So he can play the Hangerback for 0 if he wants. No, actually, that's a nice play. I like that. He'll play out one of these and then he'll sack an Arcbound Ravager. So that the bridge from below. So he kind of had to do it before that Stitches Supplier resolved. He could have sacked his Arcbound Ravager, would have exiled the bridge from belows. When I get my act together, I'm going to have the pop-up cards again. Bridge from below. Every time a creature from Josh's play goes into the grave, he gets 2 zombies. You can see them there. But if one of Dylan's creatures goes into the graveyard, then Bridge from Below is exiled from Josh's grave. So the idea is for Dylan, he wants to get one of his creatures off the board to get those Bridge from Belows out of the graveyard. Otherwise, the board's going to get flooded with zombies. And the way he could have done that before Stitch's Supply resolved was to sack an Arcbound Ravager or play a Hangerback for 0. So you can see now Bridge from Below. Viscera Seer is just going to swamp the board with tokens, zombie tokens. Dylan is going to take a bit of a hit here because he's only got 1/1s to block. I don't really know much about his deck, so I can't really comment too much. 2 Vengevines into the grave now. Yeah, so this is that breakout deck from the Pro Tour. You see, Josh is at 12. The thing with these affinity decks is they can do damage from nowhere, so we'll just have to see. Well, here's a kicked Goblin Bushwhacker, so this is going to be a lethal attack right here. This is going to force some action. Does he have enough to beat this? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 28, 30 points of damage coming across. If he blocks a 2, I think he's just dead here. Oh no, Walking Ballista can block and shoot something down. It can shoot down the Gravecrawler and the Bushwhacker. He's just going to block the Bushwhacker. And it's going to drop him to 2. He's actually got lethal. Nice play there from Dylan. So what happened there, he sacked the Ravager, put the counters on the Ballista, and the Ballista was a 7, so it could do the damage. So Josh was down to 12, Ballista would have put 7 points of damage through and then sacked 5 counters to do the last of the damage. So you can see Dylan's brought in Surgical Extraction, and this time he surgical the bridge from below, so that really weakens Josh's deck. Josh is, looking back over the previous seasons, has been a perennial Division 1 player. I don't think he's ever been out of Division 1. And he's also put up some pretty strong finishes as well. Last season was a bit of a disappointment. I think he had a mid-table finish and failed to make finals in any of the formats or the Grand Champion. So he'll be looking to bounce back this season. He's kind of one of those players that was always he was always competing with the so-called front runners, but he was always just a little bit behind. But I'm friends with him in Facebook and can kind of keep track of his results, and he does particularly well on it. PPTQ circuits in Canada. And of course, I often consult with him when I'm going to paper events as well. I seek out his advice on what to play and what not to play and how to play it and so on. Likewise with Dylan, I preparing for my last event, which was SCG Philadelphia. I got Dylan to help me out there as well. But Dylan's deck going to work here, unloading the surveys through the animation module. So when you play an artifact, you can pay one, get a servo. You can see our banner down the bottom thanking all of our Patreon contributors. We've been a little bit slow with the latest raffle. The reason for that is because we have actually secured some. This is a huge attack coming here. We've actually secured some nice pieces from John Avon that he signed in Europe. So as well, because we passed 1,000 members, we're just sort of working out, something a bit more interesting that we could do. Has he got lethal here again with the Arcbound Ravager? He has, yeah. So we're going to Legacy, and Dylan is about to get a clean sweep here. A turn one Trinisphere, that's going to bring a Force of Will. Pitching a Stubborn Denial, so I'm not really sure what Josh is on there. Okay, Thoughtseize, game's up. I think you take the Ensnaring Bridge, yep. There's people doing some sort of renovation here, so that's a power draw. Again, I apologize. Josh is on this blue-black Death Shadow that was unveiled at the Pro Tour. Dylan's going to be able to play out Khan here. So despite that early hand disruption, he's ended up in a pretty good position. Yeah, Josh is going to fire off the Wasteland, get rid of that Ancient Tomb, but he knows there's a second Ancient Tomb. But a second Khan is not what you want to draw there. Chalice for one, that pretty much locks Josh out. I think we're going to go to game 2 now. And a main deck Crucible, yeah, Josh has seen enough, so Dylan's a game short of the clean sweep here. Here comes turn 1 Thoughtseize again. The other thing as well, because I'm based in Singapore until October, so what I tend to do when I remember is put these posts and schedule them for Eastern Standard Time in East Coast of the US. Sometimes I forget, so these might get posted at funny times, like 4 or 5 in the morning. Okay, he's got the Death Shadow out this time, but a Ratchet Bomb is going to take care of that Death Shadow. Unless he's looking for a counterspell here. He's brainstormed. I thought it was going to be Stubborn Denial, but it wasn't. Chalice for one is going to be a killer next turn. Throne of Geth. I didn't even know what that is. Takes 4, but Chalice followed up by a Ratchet Bomb is going to just wreck Josh again. Oh, nice play. So he brought that in, so I put an extra counter on things that already had counters. So the Ratchet Bomb now goes to 2. I like that play from Josh. Very good. Tangle Wire. Again, my apologies. I have to. Yeah, so he's going to concede here, and a clean sweep for Dylan.